Welcome to the effective problem solving module. It is not that successful people do not have problems. In fact, if you find successful people in your life, you will find that they have more problems in life than the unsuccessful people. So how does it distinguish a successful and an unsuccessful person? Successful people know how to effectively solve problems. That is what we are going to explore. How can I become an effective problem solver so that I can become more and more successful? One of my mentors said that companies don't pay you for the work that you do. They pay you for the value that you generate in the marketplace for them. What a powerful statement, isn't it? Now the question comes, how do I be valuable? Answer is pretty simple, isn't it? Learn to solve bigger problems for the organization. So if you want to be valuable for your organization, this session becomes very, very important for you. There are 7 steps to effectively problem solve. First is to identify the problem, second to analyze, then to describe the problem, then go to find the root causes, find alternative solutions, implement each of the alternate solutions that you found to find out its worth, and finally measure the result. So let's go into each of these 7 steps in detail. The first step is to identify the problem. So to identify any problem, first I have to find out what are the standards against which it can be measured. So if you are in an engineering industry, there are various different guidelines to find out what are the tolerances and the standards against which it can be measured. So if you are in a pharma industry, there are different pharmacopoeias. ISO is one standard, and there are various different standards in which are available in the market. Once I have identified the standards, then I have to find out how much variation can I tolerate. That is what is identifying the problem. The standard against the variation. How much toleration can I give? In certain areas, the toleration is large. In certain areas, the toleration is very, very stringent, right? Depends on what. That is what is to identify the problem. To analyze the problem, which is the second step, there are 3 stages that any problem goes through. Okay, so let us look at the 3 stages. First is the arising, second is the advanced, third is the crisis stage. So let us look at an example of a car driving. You are driving a car and suddenly it starts beeping either the petrol or the oil, and it shows that it is red and it is indicating that either the petrol levels are low or the oil levels are very low. Now this may not be a big problem because you know at the next stop you can arrange for either the petrol or the oil, and then again you can so it is at the arising stage when it starts indicating. That's the arising stage. Any problem at the arising stage will give you some indications. So whether it is that's the arising stage. Next level is, am I driving the car and suddenly I find that it's wobbling, then I have to find out if which of the bearings which is worn out and which needs replacement. Now that replacement is not as critical, as I can still drive the car for some time, but if I don't take care of that, then it is going to cause further problems, further damage in the car. So it is now in the advanced stage. I cannot ignore the problem. Okay, I will have to take care of it, but I have some leeway, some time advantage for that. Okay, and finally, if I am driving the car and then smoke comes out of the car, then obviously it is at the crisis stage. So you have to identify whether the problem is in the arising stage, whether the problem is in the arising stage, advanced stage or crisis stage. Okay. So I have taken the car instead of the injury in running, I took car as the example. Third step is to write down the problem, to describe the problem. Okay, and invariably people miss out this. This is an important step. So write down the problem in 12 to 15 words. Ideally one sentence is around 12 to 15 words. And if you can describe the problem in 12 to 15 words, then it is said that if you describe the problem, half the problem is solved. So describe the problem. This is different from identifying the problem. Many people confuse description of the problem to identifying of the problem. Identifying is just the standard and the tolerance variable. How much variation can I tolerate? That is identifying the problem. Description is critical. And if there are team members who are involved in the problem solving, then you need to get your team to agree on the description of the problem. This probably is the most important step in problem solving, invariably ignored, because it is confused that if I have identified the problem, then I know what is the problem. That's not true. People jump from this, that confusion is there. So be clear that identifying the problem and description of the problem is very different, right? If a company is in a financial mess, that is identification of what are the standards against which I can measure it, but what is the real description of the problem? It will vary. The description of the problem is really half solving the problem. I hope you're getting the important step. Do not ignore this step. Okay, the fourth step is to find out the root cause. Now, how do you identify the root cause? Ask the 5W and 1H questions. What are the 5W, 1H questions? Where, when, what, why, who, and how. The more deeper you go, the better it is for you. Go as deep as possible. Keep on questioning, so that it goes, you can go as deep as possible. Remember, the tree is very strong when the roots go as deep as possible. So the roots is what you need to identify, and for which you have to go to as deep as possible. Once you have done this step, then you go and find alternate solutions. Okay, people jump into this step so early in the process without describing the problem. They think about, let us find out, this is identified the problem, finance is the problem, okay, these are the solutions. No. Okay, try describing the problem. You will find surprisingly how the alternate solutions can be very different when you have described the problem. Okay, so find alternate solutions after you have finished the first 4 steps. And if you need to brainstorm, get as many solutions as possible. The more the merrier. Obviously, the more the merrier. Brainstorming is when you have a team and you can use their brains to utilize to identify alternate solutions. It is always better. I always believed that 10 heads are better than 1 head. So that is how I will go and identify alternate solutions. I will involve my team in the brainstorming. I will involve them. I will ask them what are the different solutions that you can give me. Once I have a set of 4, 5, 10 solutions, then I will implement them one by one. And the more I implement, it is only when I implement each solution will I understand the worth of the solution. Okay, so implementation gives me the worthiness of the solution. So without implementation, I will not be able to identify what is the worth of the solution. So implement each one of them to find out which is the best possible thing. Once you have implemented, then the next step is to measure results. This is critical. I cannot talk more about this, because you know that unless and until you measure results, everything is useless. This is important. Okay, so measure. And sometimes you got to be innovative in measuring this, in measuring results. You have an existing system which you can utilize to keep records. It is recorded. It has to be recorded so that documented. When I say recorded, it has to be documented. It can be proven every now and then. That's what is measurement, right? We have done a different module called result measurement and management blueprint, where I teach people how to measure results, right? So measure. This is important, and many times you got to be innovative to really be effective in solving problems. Finally, let's go back to the 7 steps. First is identifying the problem, then analyze the problem, then describe the problem. I am sure by now you are clear that identifying the problem is very different from describing the problem. Once you have described the problem, go to the root cause by asking the 5 W and 1 H questions. Find out alternate solutions, have more and more people giving you these alternate solutions. Implement each one of the solutions to find its worthiness, and finally measure results. So use these 7 steps and be valuable for your organization. Thank you.